Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here with you. I absolutely love Austin. And the nice people at Spreadfast actually gave me a really cool pair of cowboy boots to wear, which are beautiful and fit really well. But they're really slippery, and I thought it's probably not going to be great if at a social conference I fall on my arse. Because you'll have something to tweet about, and I'll be really sad. So, yeah. So instead, for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to be speaking with you about the secret psychology behind social behavior. So why and how we share, and what that means for us if we want to create more shareable content. So we've all seen them. Pieces of social content from topical memes, such as this political beauty. Yes, we do watch the debates in the UK and watch on in horror. Images, well, we can't talk. We've got the Brexit, which is a whole bunch of, it's pretty shit, really, isn't it? Anyway, so political things such as this, images that get shared heavily. I particularly like the amount of effort that went into this one. Momentary and unexpected moments of glory and fame. There are people in the UK who are going to wear this for Halloween, and we don't even do Halloween. It's like an excuse to actually do more of it. Go consumerism. And videos that actually go viral for no apparent reason. And I've been reliably informed that some of you will recognize this one. So how many of you? Yes, bring it. Sorry.
I have a pen, I have an apple, apple pen. I have a pen, I have pineapple, pineapple pen, apple pen, pineapple pen,
Pen, pineapple, apple, pen. Oh no, let's switch. So we have valuable resources in our brains, and we are spending our time devouring this kind of crappy content. And it started out in Japan, swept its way through the Philippines, made its way to India, and of course to the UK, and then eventually made it over to here, where of course Bieber picks it up, tweets about it, gets 100,000 likes, and earns its very own Wikipedia page. Yay! Now, whatever we make of this really bizarre but kind of, sort of slightly disturbingly funny content, is that all of these pieces have something that sets them apart from other not-so-shareable content. So what is it that makes us share content socially at scale? I'm going to dive in here, and I would like to say there are several things that make us share content in a social capacity. The first is that they can act as carriers for emotional contagion. And this is not as creepy as it sounds. Well, I mean, it's kind of as creepy as it sounds. The idea is that when you have an emotion, you can transmit it, almost like a virus, to people around you, and then affect their sense of emotional state or mood. And this is actually really weirdly found in a study where they had 3 people sitting in silence, opposite from one another, for 2 minutes. And they measured the effect on their heart rate, on their mood, galvanic skin response, and their feedback around their emotional states. And what they found was that the most emotionally expressive person in the group, bearing in mind they weren't speaking at all, just complete silence, transmitted his or her mood non-verbally to the other 2 participants within those 2 minutes. So there's something quite unusual and non-verbal that's happening. And in social, we do this a lot more consciously sometimes. So for instance, the kind of awe feeling that you get when you see this, and then Panda does a face plant, which is kind of cute because it's, small and fluffy. It probably didn't hurt that much. Getting people to feel our sense of despair in a kind of cute way when we're back at work and we really don't want to be. Oh, I know, see, yes, that's how I feel. And also images, I've got to warn you, there's 2 smart jokes in this presentation. I don't know if I've got a weird thing going on. I was sat on a plane for 11 hours, so maybe it's that. But also things like farting wombats.
Wasn't me.
Just in case you didn't catch that, let's hear that again.
Retreat.
That is a Scotchy fart.
Wasn't me.
And I love that the guy says it wasn't him, like it would be him. It can also indicate the mood of the sharer. So whether we do this consciously or unconsciously, it can say a lot about how we're feeling. And nowhere is this more beautifully demonstrated than our fabulous grumpy cat. Now, she's really cute and she's really grumpy. And the really interesting thing about this is that when we have a way in which to express more negative emotions by pairing it with something cute, like if someone said this to you in the street, there are 2 kinds of people in this world and I don't like them, you'd think this person's a complete twat, right? You would. You'd be like, I'm not going to chat. If someone posts it, you're like, oh yeah, that's actually quite sweet. It's not sweet, it's mean, but because it's got grumpy cat, we're like, yeah, it's fine. And Grumpy Cat has become so successful that she now even hangs out with real human celebrities. And I think that some of you might have, I was hearing last night that some of the Spreadfast team have done selfies with Grumpy Cat. Anyway, we'll have to find out. So social content can also help to provoke our sense of curiosity, and I'm sure we've all got examples of this. And it's interesting because you can actually use psychological principles to get people to read and share pretty much anything. Now, hands up if you recognize this piece of content. Has anyone seen this? One of us, two of us, okay, a few of us. So this stick of butter is left out at room temperature. You won't believe what happens next. This is a 3-hour and 5-minute video, you guys. Nothing fucking happens. The butter doesn't melt. There is no streaker or nudity, which is a shame, but probably sort of does something about the rules. Nothing happens. And look at the views. 1.2 million views. 1.2 million. And I had to fast forward to the end to watch it. And I was like, this is terrible. And the worst thing is that having seen this, 41,000 of those people come back again and re-click on it when there's a new version, the patriotic edition, stick a butter with a flag. Why? This is insanity. Why are we doing that? Like, we could be doing much nicer things, like, I don't know, putting kids on the backs of sheep and calling it rodeo, which is amazing, by the way. I saw that last summer here. But we're not, so we're spending all our time and effort on these clickable headlines that don't really deliver much than a bit of a quirk. So how do you do it? And I've got to say here, if you don't want to create just clickbait that's miserable and unhappy-making and that upsets people, if you provide value and you deliver on the promise, this can be a great way to zhuzh up your content and get it shared. So if you use it in that way, it's pretty ethical. So I wanted to give you a formula. Now, as a caveat to this, there are so many different ways of creating shareable, clickable headlines. But I wanted to give you something that's really actionable so that you can start playing with some of the principles. So this is just one way of many. So you take a number or a trigger word, you add an adjective, a keyword, and then a promise, and you end up with a killer headline. And so I'm going to give you a more concrete example of what this looks like, and also some of the trigger words that you can use. Now, these are not new. If you go all the way back to the first types of print, where people were trying to get people to buy stuff, and then to radio commercials, billboards, TV, the internet, all of our different channels throughout the years have used words such as these to hook us in psychologically, to grab our attention, provoke curiosity, and get us to read, watch, and share. So my favorite one actually is, it's not what you think, because it's like, how did they know what you think? I mean, Google probably knows what you think, and Alexa probably knows what you think, but okay, so they're probably accurate. So if you're going to use some of these trigger words, you can apply them to an otherwise fairly boring subject. Now, I quite like eggs. Anyone here like eggs? Yeah, oh, we've got a lover of eggs, egg lover. So you'll be the only person that actually watches it if you write an article that says house fry an egg.